So nice to have you here with me today. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Just fine.
Howdy, how do you do? Hello, good day.
Good morning, America. Today on Daily Time with Dalemarie, we'll be using gun regulations as a lens to see the faults in the congressional system. Today's question is, why can't Congress pass gun legislation? Here with us today, an expert on congressional systems, Ms. Sydney Horton, and an expert on member of the NRA, Katharine Wilson. Thanks for coming in, ladies.
Thanks for having us. Glad to be here.
First off, could you explain passing a bill to our viewers so that they understand the complications already in place?
Sure. In simple terms, once a bill is proposed, it is read to the Speaker of the House and all the representatives, and then assigned to a committee. After the committee approves the bill, it is sent back to the House floor where the House debates upon it. Then the House votes on the bill and it is passed along to the Senate where many of the same steps are repeated. After the Senate votes upon it, it either ends up at the President's desk or it is killed.
Where do you believe the responsibility for gun violence lies?
Well, Lapierre, an executive vice president for the NRA, claims that vicious, violent video games and relaxed law enforcement is to blame for violent crime, and I completely agree with this. We have instilled in our children at a very young age that the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun.
And do you consider Congress to be equally responsible for the innocent deaths of civilians as the sick individuals who plot and carry out these horrific measures? If not, who would hold the responsibility?
Well, Congress can't have all the blame placed on them for these horrible tragedies that take place because they don't control each individual. However, by not passing gun legislation, Congress is somewhat enabling criminals. The lack of background checks and the ease of buying a gun could contribute to the high number of mass murders.
Very interesting. And do you believe the mandatory background checks on all gun buyers will keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people?
That's a tough question. I believe it will definitely make it harder for criminals to get guns. The background checks do not account for civilians, however, who would be willing to sell guns to criminals, maybe unknowingly, but background checks will certainly deter some who aren't willing to go to the lengths and trouble to find someone willing to sell them a gun.
Very interesting take. And Ms. Horton, could you discuss some of the reforms that Congress has in mind in terms of gun control?
Of course. First, we would want to make sure that the background checks are mandatory. There should also be more extensive requirements in order to maintain a gun license. We want the process to model that of obtaining a driver's license. Several tests include vision and mental health, which will be given. Several tests including vision and mental health will be given, as well as classes that teach proper and safe gun usage.
Miss Williams, the father of a 6-year-old boy killed in the Sandy Hook massacre told lawmakers that private citizens have no need for assault weapons like those used in Adam Lanza in the horrific shooting. How would you respond to this?
I agree that this shooting was horrific, and it's things like this that put people in opposition of the NRA. With that being said, gun control laws are ineffective at preventing crime and are unconstitutional. If someone is determined to commit such a terrible act, they will find a way to get a weapon, whether or not there are restrictions.
Very interesting. And do you feel as though gun control lobbyists are making progress in their endeavor to regulate gun usage and distribution?
No, I do not think so. Having heard that some new gun legislation might be passed, legislators in 24 Western and Midwestern states have introduced bills to block enforcement of any forthcoming federal gun control within their borders.
Ms. Horton, why do you believe that Congress cannot pass gun legislation?
I think interest groups such as the NRA are the prime reasons that Congress can't pass gun legislation, because of the influence that they have not only upon Congress, but the people as well. Interest groups are responsible for a lot of funding decisions. So, politicians are scared to upset them by passing legislations that go against their desires.
Yes, and what about you, Mrs. Wilson?
Well, first of all, the right to bear arms is protected under the Second Amendment, and that should be enough in itself to deter the creation of gun legislation. This is an issue that has two very different sides, so it's difficult to pass legislation that either party would agree with. Congress is fearful of retaliation from either political party.
Yes, I agree with that. It is very difficult to find a compromise between two very polarized opinions.
From what I'm hearing, I think Congress needs to take a risk, as see the negative outcomes and retaliations that may come from interest groups, and then figure out how to handle the situation. Well, it looks like it's time for a commercial break. We'll be right back.
This message is brought to you by Daytime with Dalemarie and sponsored by Dalemarie herself. Remember, a vote for Dale is a vote for you.
Hey folks, I'm Dalemarie Johannesson and I am running for your president. Welcome back to Daytime with Dalemarie. Vote for me. So, Miss Horton, can you tell us President Obama's current proposal for gun legislation?
Yeah, of course. First of all, he too agrees that background checks should be required. He wants to ban military-style assault weapons, such as AK-47s, etc. He also wants to provide training for active shooter situations, like Sandy Hook. Obama is very adamant about investing safety in schools and providing more resources and officers to school districts. He also wants to improve mental health awareness through the training of more mental health professionals nationwide.
Shout out. It sounds like he has a pretty good plan already set up. But Miss Wilson, don't you think this would help the nation be safer? And do you agree with the proposal plan?
Well, it sure does seem like he has a plan all put together. One big problem is that it violates our Second Amendment right. As I said before, and I'll say again, it's going to be nearly impossible for us to stop bad guys if the good guys do not have guns.
You bring up a good point, but how can we expect our children to be safe if everyday citizens are carrying around assault weapons?
We can never be completely sure of our safety, even if we restrict gun usage, because there will always be ways to get guns illegally, especially with the black market increasing.
This is true, but I believe every piece of legislation, no matter how big or small, can help at least to decrease the amount of gun violence.
All right, ladies. You both said many great points, but it seems like either way, Congress will have difficulty passing any kind of gun legislation.
Yes, this is true. It can be hard for Congress to pass any type of legislation at all. The system has some flaws, obviously, and having a proposal that has so much opposition only makes it all that much harder. Like I said, there will be controversy over almost everything that Congress debates.
Well, thank you, ladies. It's been real. Good talk. Peace out. And thank you for watching Daytime with Dalemarie. Comments on today's show on my website, dalewithdale.org.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
How are you?
It's so nice to have you here with me today.